No safe defense, not even science. Part 1. I don't ask my friends about their childhoods, I lack social curiosity, and so I don't know how much of a trend this really is. Of the people I know who are reaching upward as rationalists, who volunteer information about their childhoods, there is a surprising tendency to hear things like, "My family joined a cult and I had to break out," or "One of my parents was clinically insane and I had to learn to filter out reality from their madness." My own experience with growing up in an Orthodox Jewish family seems tame by comparison. But it accomplished the same outcome: it broke my core emotional trust in the sanity of the people around me. Until this core emotional trust is broken, you don't start growing as a rationalist. I have trouble putting into words why this is so. Maybe any unusual skills you acquire, anything that makes you unusually rational, requires you to zig when other people zag. Maybe that's just too scary, if the world still seems like a sane place unto you. Or maybe you don't bother putting in the hard work to be extra bonus sane, if normality doesn't scare the hell out of you. I know that many aspiring rationalists seem to run into roadblocks around things like cryonics or many worlds. Not that they don't see the logic, they see the logic and wonder, can this really be true, when it seems so obvious now, and yet none of the people around me believe it. Yes. Welcome to the earth where ethanol is made from corn and environmentalists oppose nuclear power. I'm sorry. People who've had their trust broken in the sanity of the people around them seem to be able to evaluate strange ideas on their merits, without feeling nervous about their strangeness. The glue that binds them to their current place has dissolved, and they can walk in some direction, hopefully forward. Lonely descent, I called it. True descent doesn't feel like going to school wearing black, it feels like going to school wearing a clown suit. That's what it takes to be the lone voice who says, if you really think you know who's going to win the election, why aren't you picking up the free money on the in-trade prediction market? While all the people around you are thinking, it is good to be an individual and form your own opinions, the shoe commercials told me so. Maybe in some other world, some alternate Everett branch with a saner human population, things would be different. But in this world, I've never seen anyone begin to grow as a rationalist until they make a deep emotional break with the wisdom of their pack. Maybe in another world, things would be different. And maybe not. I'm not sure that human beings realistically can trust and think at the same time. Once upon a time, there was something I trusted. Eliezer trusted science. Eliezer dutifully acknowledged that the social process of science was flawed. Eliezer dutifully acknowledged that academia was slow, and misallocated resources, and played favorites, and mistreated its precious heretics. That's the convenient thing about acknowledging flaws in people who failed to live up to your ideal. You don't have to question the ideal itself. But who could possibly be foolish enough to question, the experimental method shall decide which hypothesis wins. Part of what fooled Eliezer 18 was a general problem he had, with an aversion to ideas that resembled things idiots had said. Eliezer had seen plenty of people questioning the ideals of science itself, and without exception they were all on the dark side. People who questioned the ideal of science were invariably trying to sell you snake oil, or trying to safeguard their favorite form of stupidity from criticism, or trying to disguise their personal resignation as a deeply wise acceptance of futility. If there'd been any other ideal that was a few centuries old, the young Eliezer would have looked at it and said, I wonder if this is really right, and whether there's a way to do better. But not the ideal of science. Science was the master idea, the idea that let you change ideas. You could question it, but you were meant to question it and then accept it, not actually say, wait. This is wrong. Thus, when once upon a time I came up with a stupid idea, I thought I was behaving virtuously if I made sure there was a novel prediction, and professed that I wished to test my idea experimentally. I thought I had done everything I was obliged to do. So I thought I was safe, not safe from any particular external threat, but safe on some deeper level, like a child who trusts their parent and has obeyed all the parent's rules. I'd long since been broken of trust in the sanity of my family or my teachers at school. And the other children weren't intelligent enough to compete with the conversations I could have with books. But I trusted the books, you see. I trusted that if I did what Richard Feynman told me to do, I would be safe. I never thought those words aloud, but it was how I felt.